Matters
Mrs.
arising.
Arising, yeah, those
Yeah,
three, yeah,
those three, I
no
leave it
problem,
up to you, no?
no problem, yeah,
All right. But I will be in the back.
yeah, sure, sure, sure. No, thank you guys, as
All right then.
usual. Yeah,
Sure. Okay.
sure. We normally admit Parliament a little bit later.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm just testing the camera and the sound to make sure I'm loud and clear and my pimples are not showing. Good morning, speaker.
Just share the meeting already. Just share the meeting. Just open and share the meeting. Coup d'etat.
No, coup d'etat, it's happening right now, Kalipe. Done, sorted. See, I'm dressed too. Let's take over. Coup d'etat. Are you well?
Yes, I'm well already.
Great stuff.
Good morning, colleagues. It is 8:30 and we can proceed. Welcome to the National Assembly Programming
Recording
Committee.
in progress.
We have circulated the agenda, but before we get to that, let us first deal with the apologies. Mr. Tkasu, any apologies that have been tendered to your office?
Good morning, Honorable Deputy Speaker, honorable members. It's only the Speaker of the National Assembly, ma'am, whose apology I wish to attend, that I'm aware that I'm aware of.
Thank you, Mr. Tkasu. Members, any other apologies that we should take note of? I don't see any hands. We will then proceed with point number 2 on the agenda, consideration of the agenda. Can I have a proposer for the adoption of the agenda as received? Honourable Reddy.
Good morning, Deputy Speaker. I just want to include 2 items, if I may. They're very short. The first, it's member diaries for members, and the second one, it's a kind of a forum. It's the programming committee pre-meeting forum. If you just put it on there, and I'll explain to you. It'll just help us to have this meeting dispensed with in like 10 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other matters, Honourable Mkalipi?
It's not a matter per se, Deputy Speaker. Good morning to you and to colleagues in the platform. Is the issue that we raised long time ago pertaining the agenda, number 6, because it does not make sense when you deal with the minute towards the end of the meeting. So we raised this thing, and I specifically remember very well you said the speaker will assist with the matter. So it keeps on going on to be having minutes towards the end of the meeting. Can be corrected because it does not make logical sense, Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Mkalipi. As was said, and you're quite correct that the Speaker will deal with this matter. She is not present today, so I will inquire from her. Honourable Deputy Chief Whip.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Before I move for the adoption of the agenda, I want to sensitize the Chief Whips that we cannot bring new items in this forum. This meeting is about the program of Parliament. If there is any other matter, like what Honourable Reddy raised, it must start at the Chief Whips forum. Thank you very much, and I move for the adoption of this agenda as it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Dlakude. That is indeed the case, that these matters are dealt with in the Chief Whips Forum before it comes to the NAPC. We only deal with the standard matters that we have on the agenda. I saw Honourable Dugmore's hand raised.
Thanks, Deputy Speaker. Greetings, colleagues. Now, I was just wanting to second Honourable Dlakude's proposal to adopt the agenda as it is flighted. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Reddy.
I require some clarity, because then why do we have an item there called consideration of the agenda and adoption of the agenda if we are unable to make, and what I propose is really they're not issues that will make, I mean, they're not substantive enough that will warrant the argument that's being advanced by the Deputy Chief Whip of the ANC. These are just administrative issues which I feel if we implement them, it will simply make these meetings much quicker. We certainly do not want to sit in these meetings longer than 30 minutes. And so I do not want to be accused of unnecessarily delaying the meeting. I'm actually helping the meeting. So that's the reason why I've put in those two items. One, the question of member diaries, and the second, if the Deputy Whip of the ANC is saying that those two issues should be dealt with in the Chief Whips Forum, although it relates to the programming committee, then I can't see the link between that two. I'm a bit confused here, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Mkalipi.
No, Deputy Speaker, that is not true of what is raised by the Deputy Chief Whip of the ANC. In the matter, in the principal matter, that could be very unconstitutional if you are not allowed to add any item on any agenda of any meeting. That is not true. Is more even frustrating if the Chiefs Forum does not take place. Yesterday, there was no Chiefs Forum. Maybe some of the item, I'm not saying the item that is proposed by Reddy must be inserted, but as a matter of principle, you can't be telling us that you can't add or propose an item on the agenda. That is very new to us.
Thank you, Honourable Mkalipi. Colleagues, I think at this particular point, what I would do is that I think that we will first refer this matter to the Chief Whips Forum so that all the Chief Whips do have an opportunity to discuss this. I will also discuss it with the Speaker, and then we can place it on the agenda if needs be. We will then proceed. I had a proposer as well as a seconder for the agenda. So, Honourable Reddy, we will take this matter further to the Chief Whips Forum as well as the Speaker. We then proceed the reports, the committee section. Dr. Ganyaza Twalu, if you could proceed, please.
Good morning, Deputy Speaker, and good morning to members and colleagues as well. I will start with slide number 2. On slide number 2, it's a summary of matters before committees. Currently, we have 26 bills before committees, and we also have 11 petitions before them as well. The next slide is slide number 5. On slide number 5, we are reporting on the Eskom Debt Relief Amendment Bill before the Standing Committee on Appropriation. The committee was briefed by FFC on the 3rd of June, and they are actually going to be briefed by Eskom on this particular bill on the 10th of June as well. The next slide is slide number 13. Slide number 13 is the Tobacco Products and Electronic Delivery Systems Control Bill before PC on Health. Now they have confirmed that they will have oral submissions on the 11th and the 17th of June 2025, and that will be done virtually by the committee. The next slide is slide number 31. Slide number 31 gives members a program of the committee, the mediation committee, looking at the National Gambling Amendment Bill. You would see, Deputy Speaker, that a lot has happened until now. Currently, they are busy with deliberations from the 6th, 7th, and 12th of June 2025, and they will consider the amended bill on the 12th and 13th of June with a view to adopt its committee report on the 14th of June. The next slide is slide number 13. It is with regards to the statutory appointments before the PC on communication and digital technologies. The committee has revised its program, however, it's still provisional. They intend to do shortlisting on the 11th of June, interviews on the 20th of June, and deliberations on the 26th of June as well. The last slide is slide number 42. Slide number 42 it is with regards to a petition before the PC on human settlements, and that petition regards the upgrading of Slovo Park informal settlement, and the committee will be getting or receiving a follow-up briefing on the 11th of July. Thank you very much, Speaker. Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Dr. Ganyaza Twalu. Members, that was the committee report with the relevant updates presented. Any questions, comments on this report? Honourable Reddy.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. I just want to know, why is it that critical constitutional amendment bills, including those that are meant to establish an anti-corruption commission and the cyber commission, these are being indefinitely delayed, despite there's a growing public demand for accountability? I just want to explain the context in which I'm raising this. The Constitution 21st Amendment Bill, the Anti-Corruption Commission, and the 20th Amendment Bill, the Cyber Commissioner, have had preliminary briefings and submissions, but are now awaiting further scheduling. The implications of this is that it signals a lack of urgency from Parliament in addressing the state capture, cyber threats, and corruption, despite the fact that we're claiming to champion clean governance and digital modernization. I also, Deputy Speaker, want to raise the issue of Eskom Debt Relief Amendment Bill. This bill, it converts public debt into equity. And what I find happening here is that it is not accompanied by transparency measures to ensure accountability from Eskom management. The Eskom Debt Relief Amendment Bill, it's proposing converting large amounts of debt into equity by 2028-29 without clear oversight or reporting reforms. Now, the reason I wanted to raise the issue of a forum prior to this meeting is so that we can meet informally, those of us that sits on the programming committee, and deal with issues like this before we actually have this meeting. And that meeting will obviously not be a televised meeting. It's outside. We clear up these issues before we come to this meeting here. Now you're going to accuse me of delaying this meeting and making this a portfolio committee meeting, which is not my intention. The last issue that I have, Deputy Speaker, relates to intergovernmental monitoring, support, and the interventions bill. It's Section 139 interventions. These were delayed when there's over 60 municipalities that are in financial distress and that are failing basic service delivery. The executive bill aims to regulate sections 100 and 139 interventions, but is still awaiting committee scheduling, despite its critical role in fixing broken municipalities. Yesterday in the plenary, you heard the Deputy Minister try and explain why Section 139 interventions are not really working. And this bill aims to address that issue. So I would like to get some comments from those that are responsible for this, Deputy Speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Reddy. Honourable Mkhaliphi.
Thanks, Deputy Speaker. I seek clarity on two issues. On committee section, there is white paper reviewed on local government, and as far as I understand, they are now opening for submissions from the people of South Africa. and the deadline date is 30th of June, I thought it will also find expression in the program of Parliament, so even people can follow, because I think that one is very important. I also seek clarity. I'm not quite sure. I heard that there is an amendment on Labor Relations Act. I don't know if the committee section has also updated in that regard, if it's not true. And the last time I checked, the DA took a Parliament to court in terms of those labor relations amendments. So I just want the clarity from the comment section if that is there or not.
Thank you, Honourable Mkalipi. Honourable Lakude.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I'm covered by Honorable Mkalipi. But on what Honorable Reddy is proposing, the issue of a forum, I think we have a Chief Whip's forum. If we can make use of it effectively, that parties will send their proposed items before the actual Chief Whip's forum take place. I think that is the forum that is meant to propose anything that comes to it, other than the forum dealing with issues that are being handled by other portfolio committees. If we can come up with those items in the Chief Whip's forum and submit them to be added on the agenda of the Chief Whip's forum earlier than the day of the Chief Whip's forum, I think that will assist. That is what we used to do in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Lakude. Honourable Reddy, I'm not going to now entertain a whole discussion on the matter that you had raised, in which I said will be referred for discussion by the Chief Whips, as well as for deliberation and consideration by the Speaker. Do you have another point, Honourable Reddy? And then Honourable Mkalipi.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Mine would then say, what is the purpose of having a programming committee if the Chief Whip's forum deals with all issues that are covered here? What is the purpose? What is the mandate of the programming committee? Because from what the Deputy Whip of the ANC is suggesting is that all these matters can simply be raised there. Don't get me wrong, I like the idea that she's proposing, where we have a discussion at that forum. I'm just saying that should be done at the programming committee, because I believe that this committee has a specific role. And if we are saying that it's the same as the Chief Whip's forum, then why are we duplicating the work? We should collapse one of these. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Reddy. Indeed, the main focus and task of this particular committee is to look at the programme of Parliament, the specific programme, the sittings, the plenaries. That is our main focus. Honourable Kalipi and then Honourable Makubele.
Thanks very much, Deputy Speaker. On the committee section, again, I'm just checking on the issue of unimplemented resolution on statutory rape. We raised this matter here, and then we even wrote as EFF to the Speaker, and the Speaker responded to say that she asked the House Chair or the committee chair to make a follow-up on that important resolution of the House. So now I think it also has to come back here in the programming committee so we can have a follow-up on them. Thanks.
Thank you, Honourable Mkalipi. There is, in fact, a report later on the agenda in terms of matters arising where that will be referred or feedback will be given. Honourable Makubela, Bele.
Thank you. Good morning, Deputy Speaker and all the honourable members. Deputy Speaker, I just want to say that in terms of what Honourable Reddy is raising, I would request that myself and him and the Deputy Chief Whip will have an offline meeting to discuss and come to an agreement. So perhaps let's not labour on that point for now so that we can proceed with the meeting, please.
Thank you, Honourable Makubele. We will then proceed, and I will now hand over to Dr. Ganyaza Twalu for feedback on the questions posed.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. With regards to the Constitution 19th Amendment Bill, the committee is hello, excuse me. Okay, I'll continue. With regards to the Constitution 19th Amendment Bill, the committee is yet to be briefed on that particular amendment bill on the 8th of July. What we don't have now is a further program for managing that. However, we will pass the message to the committee so that it can be dealt with speedily as well. Coming to the two issues raised by Honorable Mkhaliphi on the white paper and the Labour Relations Act, both of those matters are not before Parliament. So therefore, the committee section cannot report on things that are not before Parliament yes. And with regards to the statutory rape, I think the Deputy Speaker has already responded to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kanyaza Twalu. I just want to make sure Honourable Reddy also referred to the ESCOM debt relief matter. Have you included that in your
That's correct,
feedback?
It is the ESCOM debt relief bill. It is before the committee at this point in time, and they are actually processing it. And I have given some feedback on it or updates with regards to how the committee is actually going to proceed with it. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honourable Mkhaliphi.
Deputy Speaker, I just want to get a guidance from you. The reviewal of the 1998 white paper is very important. So if the department is running with these submissions from the public and is not yet in the Parliament, so how can you intervene as the Speaker's office? Because it must come to Parliament. At the end of the day, it will come to Parliament. And if it's processed outside Parliament, I foresee that there will be some little bit confusion in that regard.
Thank you, Honourable Mkhaliphi. Yes, it is very important that we do have public participation and that Parliament is involved in the whole process. But I would propose that I'm going to ask Mr. Kasu if you can also just take this up with the Speaker so that we do make sure that all the processes are followed so that we make sure that we have proper public participation as well as following the parliamentary processes. Honourable Reddy.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. The issue of the, I did not hear a response on the constitutional amendment bills, which are meant to establish the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Cyber Commissioner. Why are these being delayed? Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Twala.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, certainly I cannot comment on the delay of these particular bills. However, in our report, we have actually stated that the committee is yet to be briefed on this on the 8th of July, 2025.
Thank you. We will then see what happens in July. We proceed then with the Bills Office, Dr. Mbata, followed by Advocate van der Merwe.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and good morning to the honourable members and colleagues. I am Adrian Cupido, and I'll be presenting the Bills Office report on behalf of Dr. Mbata, who is currently attending the NAPC, the NCOP Programming Committee meeting. I'll start the report on slide number 2 and 3. On these two slides, we would like to indicate that there are currently 26 bills before the portfolio committees, 9 of which are private members' bills and 17 executive bills. On slide number 4, the Division of Revenue Bill and the Appropriation Bill, which were introduced on the 21st of May, will be referred to committees once the fiscal framework and the revenue proposals have been adopted, which according to the current program will be considered on the 11th of June. The next slide is slide number 5. On this slide, we would like to report to the committee. We would like to report that the committee bill, Economic Regulation of Transport Amendment Bill, B10 of 2025, was adopted by the House on the 22nd of May and since transferred to the National Council of Provinces for concurrence. The bill is currently before the Select Committee on Public Infrastructure and Minister in the Presidency for consideration and report. The next slide is slide number 6. Thank you. On this slide, Madam Deputy Speaker, we would like to indicate that the National Gambling Amendment Bill, B27B of 2018, was referred to the Mediation Committee, and the referral was published in the ATC of the 15th of April. The next and final reporting slide is slide number 8. On this slide, Madam Deputy Speaker, we would like to inform the committee that the Older Persons Amendment Bill, B11D of 2022, which was passed by Parliament on the 3rd of June, is being prepared by the Bills Office to be submitted to the President for assent. That brings me to the end of our presentation, Madam Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable, or rather Advocate van der Merwe.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and good morning to the members. We do not have a report today on the Constitutional Court deadlines. We will report next week on that matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Members, any questions for clarity, comments? Honourable Reddy and then Honourable Swart.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. I just want to find out, why has the Electoral Commission Amendment Bill been introduced as a private member's bill and not by the executive? Because, you know, it seems to me that this is reflecting some kind of a disagreement between the so-called GNU and the ANC about electoral reform. And how can we trust the electoral process if critical amendments are not prioritized by this GNU and the government? So I just want to know why that bill has been introduced as a private member's bill and not through the executive. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Swart.
Morning, Deputy Speaker and colleagues. I just have a question to the Advocate van der Merwe, which I might have missed, having missed the previous meeting, and that relates to the Constitutional Court application by the President on the RICA bill, whether that has been set down or finalized, given the fact that, as we know, there is a very serious gap in the law from last year already when it comes to the application of surveillance orders in terms of the RICA bill. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And obviously, if Advocate van der Merwe can't respond to that today, maybe she can respond to us next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Mkalipi.
Deputy Speaker, I just need a clarity on slide number 5 in terms of the Municipal Demarcation Board bill. Is reported here that is in front of the committee of COCTA. If we can get a status of that bill, because I can't remember what is their latest status. This matter was dealt by COCTA, I think, last year.
Thank you. Mr. Capito, can you please give us some feedback on that?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The bill is currently still before the Select Committee, and that's all we can share with the committee on this stage from our office. If Dr. Twalo perhaps have more information on the current status of that bill, it would be appreciated. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Could I just, for clarity now, which specific one are you referring to now? Because we had the question from Honourable Reddy regarding, if I heard correctly, Honourable Reddy, that was the Electoral Commission's Amendment Bill.
That's correct.
Good. Okay, is that the one? Good. Yes, I think the question of why it was not submitted by the executive and why it is a private member's bill, I think that is the nature of how our bill legislative process works. I am going to, before I go to Honourable Makubele, just go over to the Secretary of the National Assembly, Mr. Kasu.
Deputy Speaker, I just wanted to clarify the issue of the Municipal Demarcation Bill. Honourable Mkalipi is correct. The NA has dealt with the bill. Hence, it is now before the NCOP. So it's not before the NA committee, but it's before the NCOP committee. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Honorable Makubele.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Of course, it's my first time to attend this committee. I'm looking at the presentation, and could I request that those that prepare it, maybe put some kind of a table that give us the status, the timelines, etc., to bring us up to speed quicker on this. It's 26 bills. We struggle to know where they are, what is the status, what are the comments around the delays. Unless a member asks, then, and I can't come and ask on all 26. I'm just requesting that those that prepare this give us just a table with all the history of this, where it is, what are the issues. It makes it easier for new members to grasp and get up to speed. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you. Mr. Kasu?
Deputy Speaker, that information is contained in the committee section report. So I think it is always better to read the two reports together. So the bills that are before, where the bills office says these bills are before committees. So the presentation by Dr. Twalo would have given details in terms of where Bill A is, Bill B is. We can always discuss that with Honorable Makubele once she has had a look at the report by the committee section and see if there are any improvements that we may need to consider. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Kasu. And I, at this point, have to apologize to the Honorable Makubele for not mentioning you specifically and to welcome you to the National Assembly Programming Committee in your new capacity.
Thank you, ma'am.
Advocate van der Merwe, do you have any feedback on the RICA bill, if it's possible now? Otherwise, you can refer it or reply later to Honorable Swart.
Thank you. Yes, the application is still developing, if I might call it like that. There are still some submissions outstanding, and we are awaiting directions from the Constitutional Court. So at this point in time, we don't have a date of a hearing or anything like that. It is still unfolding with pleadings proceeding. And then, if I may just be allowed, Deputy Speaker, just in respect of the Electoral Commission Bill, it must just be kept in mind that bill was introduced in 2023, and it was revived in this Parliament. So it's a bit of a different bill, but then, of course, as you have stated, members of Parliament can introduce legislation, committees can introduce legislation, and the executive. And there's no necessary preference as to who should be introducing what. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Advocate van der Merwe. We then move on with the agenda, going to point 4, consideration of the parliamentary programme. Honourable Dugmore.
Thanks again. Thanks very much, Deputy Speaker. If we could just go to the program in front of us, I think we are all aware of what's happening today. Thursday, we'll be dealing, and I'm going to be very short with this report, but mainly focus on this week and one or two other issues. But we will be dealing with the condolences motion for our departed member, Member Lungi Mganga Mtabashe. And then you'll see that we have a number of reports that will be considered, including those that were referred by the Speaker's office, those reports. And just once again to note that we'll be dealing with declarations in regard to all of these particular reports that we'll deal with today. And then on Friday, I don't need to go into detail. We're all aware of the mini plenaries that will be happening. The various topics are there, including the time allocated and so on. Then we move to week 20. Thanks very much. And just to point out that we'll be, besides the member statements and the decision of a question on the draft resolution from Honourable Manye on the issue of proposed censure of the Minister of Finance, that will be dealt with. But then also as we all know, we're in Youth Month at the moment. We'll have that debate on Youth Day as well. And then Wednesday, yeah, just I think what's noted in red, I think is also important to bring to programming, because rules are obviously a critical part of the work we do in Parliament. And after plenary next Tuesday, the Rules Committee will be meeting. And obviously it's important that that is fully constituted so we can go through the issues there. Then on Wednesday, after the Chief Whips Forum, we now then move to the CTICC again, as per the decision of the Programming Committee and the CTIC, that these critical sessions which deal with decisions required on the budget process, in this case, the fiscal framework, that will be happening at the CTICC. And then Thursday, the 12th, we'll be dealing specifically with questions to the Deputy President. And then on Friday, and it is also an agenda item on this meeting, sorry, for our meeting now, is the actual P20 Youth Parliament, which will be a hybrid, good old chamber, but that presentation or that update will be provided after this matter. So I think the other thing, if we can just go, I particularly want to bring members' attention to a very important addition, is that on Thursday, the 19th, look, that week, the week that we're dealing with now, from 17th of June, that is a dedicated committee week, right? But there has been engagement with the chair of chairs that the long outstanding members training is now going to happen on Thursday, the 19th and 20th of June. And I've been informed that any committee that wants to meet on these 2 days cannot meet during the day, because we need all of our members to be present for that training. And therefore, if a committee, for instance, wants to meet, they need to approach the chair of chairs, and he's indicated to me that they can meet after the training is finished. So we really need to protect those days, 19th and 20th of June. I think what's also going to be critical next week is that we have the agenda of that training, how it will happen, and the detail. But the appeal is to really protect those days. If we can move on. Yeah, from now, I don't really want to get into too much detail because members are aware of most of this. Sorry, if we can just look at that, the plenary. Sorry, you can just hold it there, the 24th of June. We will note there the issue of statements and all of those reports, plus the first reading debate on the public sector pension and related matters, and then the second reading, and then again motions and so on. Then on Wednesday, we'll do the oral reply. And I think what's important just to note there is that that's cluster 4, economics. We all know the 2 clusters, but we couldn't deal with the cluster 4 ones from the first term. So just colleagues should note that that's the cluster 4 portfolios of the economics cluster. And then we've got Thursday, and then I also want to point out that on Thursday, we then go back to the CTICC for that plenary, where we then deal with division of revenue, the consideration of that report, plus the second reading. And then we have an important debate there around drug abuse and illicit trafficking. That will also be a debate. But just to note that that happens at CTICC. And then, and I'm not going to go on yet, from Friday the 27th, that's when we start now on all the debates. They are all there. They've been circulated to members. So I don't want to, delay the meeting by going. We can possibly go right towards the end when we actually deal with the decisions. If we can go right to that last week in July, if that's the 23rd. Also, again, colleagues, a plenary where we consider the report of the Standing Committee on Appropriations. We do the first reading. We consider all the votes and schedules. And then we have the second reading. And then Thursday, the 24th, we can just go there. Yeah, those literally the last 2 days of the second term are again committees, and hopefully things that haven't been dealt with can just be dealt with in those committees after the Wednesday session. And then we are still on track for the constituency period to begin then on the 28th of July and to take us right through to the 1st of September. We just need to possibly at our next meeting, just finalize that. But for now, that is the proposed constituency period. I'm going to stop there, Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Dugmore. Members, questions, comments? Honourable Reddy.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I have sent to Honourable Dugmore some of the issues I've picked up just so that we can finish the meeting quickly. However, I have to raise this point, and I'm hoping that members will concur. It's the growing absurdity in our parliamentary process, because week after week, we are filling our program with motions and statements. And yet, sometimes when it comes to statements, you find that the ministers that are required to comment are not even there. And I can understand because they don't know what the statements are. So perhaps what we could do is submit the statements as parties early so that ministers will know the programming committee will know which ministers need to be in to respond to those statements. Otherwise, you're just making statements, it's going nowhere. So what is the point, Honourable Deputy Speaker, of raising urgent national issues if the executive is not present to hear, to respond and to act? You know what Parliament is becoming? It's becoming a glorified echo chamber. I'm reminded when I was in school, I used to take part in plays. It's like we're preparing for plays, we come there, we just read out a script and we go and nothing happens. But nothing changes because it's just something is missing. Even worse, the motions are slotted in with no real intention of allocating time for genuine debate. Think about it. How many motions are being are being submitted to Parliament? Many of the motions without notices are being converted to motions. And at this moment in time, we don't have a list of all these motions that have been that's waiting and piling up. Maybe the committee section here needs to come up next week with that list so that we would have some idea of what's still waiting to be debated. Otherwise, all we're doing is simply adding to the pile of motions that are to be debated. And we'd be lucky if it's going to come up in this administration. Some of us may never see it ever being debated, and some of them are quite urgent. So if we are serious, Honourable Deputy Speaker, about accountability and restoring dignity to this House, then let us stop making a mockery of it. Either motions are debated properly with the ministers present, or we admit that Parliament is no longer a place of consequence, but it's become a theatre, a show, and that's all it is, with no real change that's going to impact on our citizens in the country. I thank you.
Honourable Kalipi.
Thanks very much, Deputy Speaker. On the members' training, can the programming whip share with details? Is it going to take place in Parliament? What time? Or is it going to be hybrid? So because we have to go to our caucuses and also tell our caucus members where is the members' training that is going to take place. On the issue of physical attendance, which will take place on the 11th of June, can we also be assisted in terms of the sitting arrangements? Because yesterday the Chiefs Forum didn't take place, whereby those issues were going to be processed and be clarified there. And I have noted on the program that the Chiefs Forum is going to take place on the same day where we are expected to go to ICC. And some of the issues must be clarified before because it also caused problems. We know we also have to get a progress report in terms of the dome or the rebuilding of Parliament, because this thing of having parliamentary meetings to other venues, it causes problems because we have to fight about the sitting arrangement in the last minute. Can we also be assisted in that regard, Deputy Speaker?
Thank you. Honourable Makubele.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. I want to echo the concerns and the sentiment of my colleague, Honorable Vis, on the motions that have been submitted and understanding on when they will be tabled. And second, just to understand from you the criteria of placing motions, whether in a mini plenary or in the House. As an example, we've got a very important motion, the censure of the minister, which was not just a national point of concern or an issue of concern, it was international, which affected private sector as well as public sector and everybody that is impacted by the budget of this nation. And we've had those postponements, we've had those issues with the GNU, and we want to debate this in a manner that it befits it. It's of national importance, it's the Minister of Finance, and then it is put somewhere in a corner there in a mini plenary. Who knows, who's going to be logging on today and listening to it. Most of our people that we talk to, our constituencies, are challenged with broadband and being able to log on. They really need to hear us speak on this in a manner that is accessible to them. Who then decides which motion is weighty of the House, which one is weighty of the mini plenary? If this has been discussed before, please, I beg your pardon. I just need to be able to understand that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Makubele. Honourable Dagmore.
Thanks, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, I just want to respond to some of the issues raised, and I think Mr. Klausel can also, in particular, deal with the questions asked about the training. I think earlier on in this meeting, we had a brief discussion about the role of the Chief Whips Forum and the agenda for this programming meeting. Now, I don't want to drag this meeting into contesting the statements made by Member Reddy about his feelings on what Parliament has become and so on. I mean, some of us have a very different view, but I really want to appeal that, and as I said to Member Reddy when he communicated with me this morning, that it's best if his chief whip, obviously, in their own party process, communicates with the chief whip of Parliament around those issues, because those questions are ideally discussed, in my view, Deputy Speaker, at the Chief Whips Forum. Because the order paper includes a list of those motions, the issue of then bringing motions to debate in mini plenaries and then reporting on those. For instance, the Chief Whip of the MKP has raised Member Money's issue. Now, my understanding, and possibly the staff can just actually put up that part of the program which refers to that particular issue about the Senate on the Minister of Finance as proposed by MKP. That is actually on the agenda, which can be seen in that particular on the program. And then I think in regard to the training, we simply have those dates and are reporting so that we secure those dates. I think the details of, whether this is physical, virtual, I think it's critical that we get the agenda right so that the matters on the program for training are actually the issues that members feel they need, particular inputs and support. And so I'm not in a position here. The key task was first to secure and get a full commitment that we secure those 2 days. Mr. Klausel can possibly add, but I think it's really important that at the next Chief Whips Forum, the detail of whether we should have the training physically, or virtually. I always think from my point of view, it's a big advantage if we can do those things physically. But possibly Mr. Klausel, and there may be precedent as to what happened before, it doesn't mean we have to accept that. So those were, some of the issues that I had wanted to respond to, Deputy Speaker. I think the next items on the agenda will deal with the Youth Parliament, but I'm sure Mr. Klausel can, comment on the training issue and, any other matters that members have raised. And then my last point is that our honourable member from the EFF talked about the issue of the dome, and in these meetings, we've also referred to the fact that there is a joint Standing Committee on Parliamentary Finance Matters of Parliament. And that program has now been, of that committee, has been finalized. And the whole issue of the dome, a physical visit to the Parliament where the restoration project is proceeding, that is on that agenda. And I think we've said this previously, that all of the parties are there on the joint and they're able to attend, those that are not full members, so that the dome issue is specifically going to be discussed over the next week or two or couple of weeks, and the restoration of Parliament and Parliament, for instance. So I think it's just important that we try and make sure that the agendas of the Joint Standing Committee, are that issues can be dealt with there. The chief whips is there to deal with the broader issues that parties raise, and then we come into this meeting as a programming committee. So that's all I wanted to say, Deputy. Thanks.
Thank you, Honourable Dartmoor. Honourable Garner.
Thanks very much, Deputy Speaker. So I think the program is general fine. I'm happy with it. I think maybe if there can be a consideration insofar as I'm not so sure if the very same auditorium that the presentation happened, it's where we are going to meet. Whilst the auditorium is good for an address, it does not offer itself for a proper debate. Like it's because you're almost standing there as a pastor and so forth. If it can be found that we go away and it's flat seated, I'll accept it. But if there's a way to then get one of the rooms there that can be flat seated, I think that will help. Just the final one, I think the chief whip of the opposition did raise that that side meeting with the deputy chief whip of the ANC. I will ask Deputy Speaker that maybe a side with the Honourable Reddy in terms of how certain decisions are being done. It will assist greatly together with the chief whip, because I think most of the issues that he persistently raises are issues that can be addressed, and we can keep quiet as other chief whips in these meetings, but it's now bordering on almost abusing of our times with the kind of issues that he raises, and I don't think it's fair. I then propose that through your office, Deputy Speaker, you can have a side conversation with him and the chief whip of MK so that we can find a resolution on some of these issues that honestly do not belong here. Maybe part of the training might very well be the training on the committees of Parliament, but we can. I didn't want to speak, but I think now his inputs are bordering on abuse, Deputy Speaker. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Honourable Garner. Honourable Nkubeni.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and good morning to the colleagues. My first point, and I think Honourable Garner took some of the words out of my mouth. I wanted just to say that if other colleagues feel that declarations and motions must be submitted in advance to the executive responsible, we want to object to that. The Parliament also needs to have people who can demonstrate that they know what they're doing, think on their feet. We want the spontaneity. We don't want to take some of the plunge out of our own speeches that we are going to submit before the floor. So we want to disagree with that. We need some of these answers in real time. The issue can be that people need to be attending the National Assembly. If they can't be attending, we are on hybrid. People must get with the program in that regard. You get answers the same way, whether people are on the floor or on hybrid. For us, it really is neither here nor there. We are here now, and this is the reality that we are dealing with. And so, we would not want that to be one of the processes that we must undergo. We don't want to take the sting out of our own work. The second part, Madam Deputy Speaker, is if we are indeed going to the City ICC and we're going to be in the same room, like the Honorable Kana mentioned, like that we are, we are going there to listen to a pastor. I'm wondering how much that is actually costing for us to just come there and listen to the delivery and then go home. I really don't see the logic in that. But suffice that it's going to go ahead as such. I really would like the issue that was raised by Honorable Mkhaliphi to really be taken on board in terms of the seating arrangements, because we really don't want to be abused when we arrive at the plenary on that morning, on that afternoon, and we are handled and manhandled, and our leaders and our members are disrespected on the floor without the assistance of the officials. This is what happened at the delivery of the speech by the finance minister, where we really honestly ourselves had to have some kind of a brawl with the EFF because of the seating arrangements. We really don't want that. Can we make sure that we are protected in this regard? Because it's not going to be fair anymore. We are not going to take it either. We are not going to be moved by anyone if, in fact, those seats are allocated to us. We conceded in the last round because we really just wanted peace to prevail. But we're not going to concede this time around if, in fact, our people are placed in a particular space and then we cannot be moved by anyone who's not an official in that regard. And so please make sure that you are protecting all of us in the seating arrangements, and make sure that every party understands where their people are going to be seated. We appeal, Honorable Deputy Speaker, because this is what we went through in the last round, and we are not going to tolerate it going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I'm now going to hand over to Mr. Kasu to reply to a number of these matters.
Sorry,
I will then get to Honourable
this...
Reddy. Honourable Reddy, I will get to you, then Honourable Mkhaliphi, and then Honourable Lakude. But I think Mr. Kasu can first reply because he could be covering most of the things you might want to say. Mr. Kasu.
Well, Deputy Speaker, I think the matter of member statements has been addressed. All I can say there is that if there had to be a change, it had to be dealt with in the Rules Committee and, of course, in the Chief Whip's Forum. The training, we will make details available next week. Deputy Speaker is responsible for that area, and we'll discuss with her. But it's likely to be a hybrid session on the day, so that we can enable as many members who would want to attend. The placing of motions, either in the House or in mini plenaries. Honourable members, what has happened and what has been the practice is that motions with what we refer to as constitutional motions, like your motion of no confidence or impeachment, those will be dealt with in the House, in the chamber, main chamber. But motions that come through other forms, like notices of motion, are dealt with in mini plenaries. And that has always been the practice since we've used the mechanism of mini plenaries. Of course, a debate can be had on that in the Chief Whip's Forum, and maybe the program committee can then decide. Then the matter of the auditorium, we could not find a venue which is not what we have currently, both for the 11th and the 26th of June. Hence, we're using the auditorium. It's not the same auditorium, it's smaller than the one we had. But for the 23rd of July, we will have a venue like we had for the first sitting of the NA. The sitting plan should be available by tomorrow. If necessary, a special meeting of the Chief Whip's Forum will be convened to discuss a sitting plan way before the 11th of June. We, of course, noted what happened at the last sitting with Action SA, and we can only apologize for what happened. We thought that we had the matter under control, but things just got out of hand at the point where the sitting was about to begin. So we've taken note of those matters and we'll try to avoid them to the extent possible, of course, with the cooperation of all the parties involved. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Mr. Kasu. And perhaps also just to mention that when we do look at motions and which ones are then debated, as you refer to the mini plenaries, we also have to understand that if there is a matter such as a matter of national importance, it is dealt with in a different way. So it all depends on the way in which a party submits a motion for debate, whether it is just part of the ordinary motions that's tabled in the House, or whether it is a request for a debate on a matter of national importance. Honourable Reddy.
Thank you very much, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Let me firstly begin by saying that Honourable Chief Whip of the official opposition party, Honourable Colleen, the point that she made was that when you submit the motions in the normal way in the plenary, they take forever. The debate that we are having on the censure of the finance minister, the one that we tabled, we actually had to use a backdoor route. We tabled this as a mini plenary debate, a topic for debate, so that it comes via mini plenaries direct to plenary for ratification. That was a means we had to find to short circuit bringing this particular motion to the plenary. Obviously, the point that the Chief Whip raises is that by putting it in a mini plenary is not where it belongs. This debate should be a debate where all members are present and everyone should be contributing. The issue of the theatre-style seating, Honourable Deputy Speaker, I think all of us here should be in agreement that this is not conducive for the type of environment that we are in debating these issues in Parliament. We need to have a kind of seating like we had at that, what's it, Carnival City or something, where we initially had our first meetings, if you recall. There's a place in Cape Town, it's called Century City, where we sat on a flat area with a table. That is a correct way to do it. Like this, in this church-style seating, it's just not accepted. Then the issue of the submission of declarations and statements beforehand, Deputy Speaker, it's not about saying that we should be submitting this earlier. It's not what we want to do. That's not how it should be done. But it's trying to offer a suggestion so that these become meaningful. So that when we raise them in Parliament, there's somebody there that's going to respond. I'm happy if we are able to say, or the Speaker directs, that all executives must be available for all these plenary sittings when declarations and especially statements are read out so that they can respond. I'm very happy with that. As for Ghana, we know that he's now in the GNU and he's hoping for some cabinet position. And I don't care if he feels abused. He'll continue getting abused because we have a democratic right to raise the issues we want to raise in the way in which we want to raise it. And these are the forums we want to. Honorable Ghana needs to be aware that if the point that he makes is, if these are discussed in Chief Whip's forums, then please, I reiterate my point. Maybe there's no need for a programming committee. Maybe there's no need for that. So if Honorable Ghana is feeling abused by me, I will continue to abuse him. Get used to it. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
A point of order, Chair.
Honourable Dugmore, can I deal with that matter, please?
Yes,
Honourable
sorry.
Reddy, that is uncalled for. That is not how we go about in the programming committee. And I would caution you, please do not have that kind of attitude. We do not threaten one another in this committee. We are busy with planning for Parliament, for our program, the things that are important. So please do not proceed in that kind of manner. It is uncalled for and also affects the dignity of members and this particular committee. I would also just like to refer, Honourable Reddy, I have, just before I recognised you, refer to the matter of if you do want a debate, it is all about how you submit it. And if you use it as a motion to be discussed in the mini plenary, that is how it will be dealt with. So please have a look at the rules and see how you can then, if you do have such a matter that you want to have discussed in the full plenary, that it can be discussed there. Then also in terms of the venues, I think Mr. Castle has also referred to that. Of course, we all want the ideal situation. But the reality is that there are only so many venues, and they do come at a cost. So you have to take what is available and affordable at that particular day. We don't have like Century City just available waiting for us. Even in the ICC, we have to take the specific venue there that is available on that particular day. Then I'll go to Honourable Mkalipi, and then the last on this point before we proceed, because we're already running out of time, will be Honourable Lakude. Honourable Mkalipi.
Deputy Speaker, that is very irresponsible of you responding that way, to say that the venue is not waiting for us. The Parliament was bent down when? Many years ago. And we have been cautioning Parliament that there is no proper planning, because we should have planned where are the members, all of them, 400 of them, where are they going to have the meetings? Not this thing that we are experiencing now. And we can't take that, because we have been saying to the Parliament, go and find a suitable venue for 400 members. But now we are come here and being accused of being bullied. That is not true. Babu Kaso covers some of the issues that I wanted to raise in terms of the sitting arrangements. The problems start when there is no sitting arrangements communicated before. On that day when Honorable Lerato saying that they are not going to take what happened before. But I think it is wise for us to also to explain what happened. The sitting arrangements with EFF leadership also included the Action SA leader there at the front. The chief whip of EFF is a very humble leader. She went and negotiated with the leader of Action SA. And the leader of Action SA didn't have a problem. No one bullied him. He agreed first to relocate to the back, because he said he wants to sit with his members as well. When he arrived at the back, there was some infighting with our members, and we went there as leaders and intervened. But no one bullied anyone here, so we must not come here and distort information. That is number one. Number two, Deputy Speaker, Babu Kaso have covered correctly the issues that you are raising, but I feel that the programming whip, who is responsible for this program, not supposed to come and tell us that we are also having some other joint committee that sits, because the context that is responding is wrong. I was saying that in the absence of the sitting arrangement not communicated in time is going to cause problems. We are in this problem because the Chiefs Forum didn't take place yesterday. We are supposed to get an update on the matters that make us to go and get venues in order for us to sit as 400 members as voted by the people. Not those things that is responding. He is very quick to be in the defensive mode. As a person who is responsible for the programming, he's supposed to respond as Kaso was responding, to say it will be communicated, the thing of the sitting arrangement will be communicated in time. That's what is his job. Not to be a defensive mood and tell us that there are some committees that are also sitting. That is not his place to tell us not to raise issues. Even the people of South Africa wants to know, when is this issue going to be resolved of members of parliament not meeting here on this platform? The country is open, but members of parliament are subjected to meet on this platform because of the poor planning and because of the attitude of the programming whip, who's supposed to address issues, not to be on a defensive mode. Deputy Speaker, please, if you want to protect other members, protect all of us. Listen to all speakers, because I was very clear to say we're in this problem because there's no update about the dome. We don't know if we are going back to the dome, or we are going back to the parliament, because on the last report suggested that the time the dome will be also completed, it will be the time of the rebuilding of parliament completion as well. So we need to have that kind of discussion and update. Also, the members of public must benefit to that discussion, not to come here to tell us that we must attend those committees. I attend that committee. I'm the alternative to the TG in that committee who also updates us on that information. If you are leaders, if you are listening leaders, especially the programming whip, who's supposed to have a sense of leading the program, supposed not to be on a defensive mode, because we are going to come here and defend ourselves. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kalipe. Honorable Lakude.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I think we are all leaders in this forum, in Parliament as well. As members of Parliament, we must respect ourselves and also respect others. Then with the sitting arrangement, I think Mr. Kaso has covered it. I wanted to propose that we have a special Chief Whips Forum and deal with the sitting arrangements. Unfortunately, as Parliament, we don't have a venue that will accommodate all of us. The hired venues depends on what is available, as you have correctly said so, Deputy Speaker, that we take what is available for all of us. So we don't have Parliament, we don't have a dome. Let's make use of what is given to us and work together to try and accommodate one another. Those physical altercation of members is really regrettable. We appreciate that the leadership of the EFF intervened to diffuse the situation, but that is not what we want to see. Let's try to work together harmoniously as members of Parliament and make sure that we make use of what is presented to us and given to us. Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy.
Thank you, Honorable Blakude. Honorable members, we will have to move on because caucuses start at 10. We're already at 20 to 10. We now go on to the Youth Parliament presentation. Mr. Trasu, are you going to take us through it?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I'm taking the meeting through that presentation. Honorable members, on the 13th of June, we have the Youth Parliament in Parliament. It's going to be at the Udok Chamber. The theme is Youth Economic Participation, Employment and Opportunities, Developing a Medium-Term Youth Development Agenda. Next slide. We also have sub-themes, which are as follows: inclusive economic growth, industrialization and employment, meaningful youth engagement, inclusive social development, African development, improving universal access to education. Slide number 4. The concept has been approved. At this point, I must indicate that the Deputy Chair of the NCOP and the House Chairperson for committees in the NA are the sponsors, are the office bearers responsible for this program. And in terms of planning, the stakeholders have been, communication has been sent to them. There is a steering committee, which has 23 members, all in all, and it consists of most of the parties in the NA, and that steering committee has met, and it will be meeting again tomorrow. It will finalize a program for the Youth Parliament. The next slide. We are requesting parties to assist us. We have asked parties for their delegates, ANC 4, DA 3, MKP 2, EFF 2, and other parties 1 each. So we've received all the names from the ANC, DA, MK, we're still waiting for the names. EFF, we got the names. And out of the 14 parties, only 6 have so far given us the names. So we are requesting parties to please assist us, because this information will enable us to plan properly for the day. Slide number 6. Here, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable members, we are listing the attendees, the steering committee members, as indicated, the civil society organizations, education sector, union federations, SALGA, NYDA, NEDLAC, and the National Council of Persons with Disabilities. Move on, please. Statistics South Africa, National Planning Commission, FFC, provincial legislatures, youth councillors from 8 metros, and chairpersons of relevant committees within Parliament. We've got a list, and of course, members of the executive, depending on the themes that will be addressed. Slide number 8. So we are expecting a total of 120 delegates physically in the Golob chamber. There will also be about 120 on the virtual platform. So it's a hybrid arrangement on the day. And I've indicated the date and I've indicated the venue. And so the time, it will start at 8 a.m. At this point, we're working around till 3:30. There have been a suggestion to extend the time to about 5, but that matter is still being considered by the 2 office bearers, Honorable Frolic and Honorable Govinder. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Kalsu. Honourable members, that was for noting. Thank you for all the work there. There is a steering committee, so we are proceeding with the Youth Parliament. As I said, that is for noting. Honourable members, we will now continue with the consideration of the minutes of the meeting of the 15th of May. Are there any corrections? I don't see any hands. This was circulated already, so I trust that members have read through it. So if there are no corrections to be made, could I please ask for a proposer for us to adopt the minutes?
I move, Chair.
Thank you, Honourable Dugmore. Seconder.
I think Honourable Reddy forgot to put up his hand.
Honourable Reddy.
I second, Deputy Speaker.
My hand is
Thank
up,
you.
Honorable Deputy Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Reddy, your hand was indeed up. Are you seconding?
Yes, I am.
Thank you so much. We then continue with matters arising. Mr. Kasu.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. If my colleagues may help me with the list, I may just start saying that the subcommittee on the review of rules has met. It has agreed on rules for the amendment of money bills, and hence the rules committee is meeting next week on Tuesday to consider those rules. And Deputy Speaker, the issue of the referral that Honorable Kalipi referred to, a lot of work, but not enough, has been done on the matter. The task team was supposed to report by end of March, and it has not completed the task. At this point, Honorable Frolic will be engaging the relevant committees to agree on a program, on a framework and a program. And once that is attended to, the task team will have to be reactivated or revived. Because the matter came through a resolution of the House, it will then have to go to the House to give a new time frame, which will be realistic and which will be based on the engagements between Honorable Frolic and the committees concerned. I'm aware that Honorable Frolic is giving this thing the importance that it deserves, this matter, and as soon as those consultations are finalized, the matter will come before the House and the task team will be activated. And the matter of the resolution on the Israeli embassy, the Speaker, following discussions in this meeting, has written to the Minister again to ask for feedback. We are awaiting that feedback at the moment. That is all, Deputy Speaker. Thank you so much. Of course, there was a request for the costs. Sorry, ma'am. Request for the costs for the budget speech. That information has been circulated. If members have not received it yet, we will certainly make sure that they get the information. We had indicated previously that it cost Parliament 1.4 million, the 19th of February and the 12th of March. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Kasu. Honourable members, that was then feedback on the matters emanating from the Programming Committee. Honourable Mkalipi.
Thanks very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Thanks for the feedback. However, we are not satisfied because there's no timelines attached, and we are dealing with some sensitive issues, especially on the statutory rape, and also on the issue of the international affairs, the Israel embassy. We can't take decisions as Parliament, and then after that, we are just relaxing and then waiting for the executive. Executive is accountable to us here in Parliament because they must respect the resolution and the decision of Parliament. So therefore, I'll urge the office of the Speaker to also not to be soft when we are dealing with such important matters. So it will help, Babkaso, if the timeframes can be attached so we can know if we are moving towards the right direction or we are regressing, especially on sensitive matters such as statutory rape. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Mkalipi. I am sure that will also be conveyed to the Speaker. Honourable members, that then is the end of our meeting. There is no other business. So with that, the meeting is adjourned, and I do trust that you will have a fruitful rest of the Thursday.
Long live the chair.
Thank you very
Long
much.
live the
Thank
chair.
you.
Thank
Long
you.
live the chair. Long live the chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
Recording stopped.